Go grab my other laptop.
Is there any way you can bring it down?
I honestly do not know.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll just set off part of it.
And go ahead and start. I'm gonna try to see if I can adjust it.
Sure. So, hello everybody. My name is Robert Simmons. Utkonos, which means duck-billed platypus in Russian. I speak Russian. But so my talk today is about LinkedIn and the new thing intro. And my talk is linked all up in your email. So I just wanted to give a shout out to my intern, Jacob Trular, back at SMTP.
I'm trying to auto set it. The only thing I can do is interrupt it to make it down. So I think just
let it roll.
Let it go.
Just let it roll. So I want to give a shout out to Jacob Trular, my intern back at SMTP. He's awesome. He did a whole lot of work on this project with me. So who am I? I'm the senior technologist and security manager at SMTP. We do open source intelligence, and personally I do malware analysis, and I run a malware analysis lab, and this is my lab, and that's what I use to analyze malware. So what is LinkedIn Intro? LinkedIn Intro is not actually an app, even though it's referred to as an app in some ways online right now. It's actually an iOS configuration profile, which is an XML document that gets pushed out to your phone. This right here, this URL will take you to Apple's description and specifications for an iOS profile document. And what does the iOS profile document that LinkedIn Intro uses do? So what it does, it allows you to view LinkedIn profile data inside of your Apple Mail app. So, and I'll get into the details of exactly what that does in just a moment. But it was announced on October 23rd, 2013, so it's 2 weeks old, so this research is all very fresh and new. And this is the intro, this is the announcement link to LinkedIn's blog. And what you do at first is you visit this website, intro.linkedin.com, using your iOS phone. And this is actually, I wanted to say, just wanted to preface this with a lot of the data that I've gathered is also published by LinkedIn. They're not keeping a secret. It's not, they're actually telling you exactly what they're doing. And actually, the engineering behind what they're doing is really cool. Like it is actually pretty neat hacks that they've done to get this to work. And so actually they have they've got the LinkedIn engineering blog where they're talking about how awesome the engineering behind this is, and it really is. So what does it look like before and after LinkedIn Intro has been added to your phone? So without LinkedIn Intro, you have a normal email, which is displayed by iOS. And then when you add LinkedIn Intro, it puts a field in your email, and you can see the profile of the person who sent you the email. And you can do things like add them to your LinkedIn network and such things. So this is actually the basic sample version of the XML file from Apple's website. So a similar XML document is added to your phone. And what does that XML document do? So what it does is it allows LinkedIn to access your email in between your phone and your email provider. It only works with certain providers, so it works with Gmail, it works with iCloud, AOL Mail, Yahoo Mail, and then the really important one that that I was interested in is Google Apps. And the reason why this is interesting is Google Apps is used by businesses. All these other email services might be used by businesses, but not usually. But businesses use Google Apps. That's how you get your own branded email from Google. And so this actually introduces an interesting policy problem, because if your company has the policy that you can't transfer your email to a third party, then you need to be able to know whether your employees are actually using Intro, because they might inadvertently be forwarding business-related emails through LinkedIn servers, which might violate a policy. So I'm not going into the details of the intent of LinkedIn Intro or anything like that. I'm simply going to speak on how this relates to businesses, and also how you can detect LinkedIn if one of your employees is using it on your network. So Google Apps is the real interesting part of this. So it doesn't support Exchange. I've actually gone through and we put the Exchange credentials into a phone and verified that it cannot access Exchange email. So, so how does it work? So we pulled. I just did a network capture. And if you look carefully here, and I'll actually blow this up in just a moment, but this is like the beginning of the network capture. So this is where you're actually installing LinkedIn intro and going through that process. And if you look carefully down here in the bottom, I'll blow this up for you. So this is the iPhone TLS version 1 Handshake. And what it's doing is it is offering TLS 1.2 to the server. Because Apple is on the ball and they've got the latest version of TLS encryption. TLS, in case you don't recognize it, TLS and SSL are a similar thing. TLS is just the newer versioning for that and a newer concept. So TLS 1.2 is the latest and greatest of that. So then LinkedIn answers back and says, oh, I only have TLS 1.0. So that's a little bit interesting. And I ran their servers through, just to verify on my own, I ran them through Qualys's SSL investigation tool. It's a free tool that's on their website, and verified this, that their servers don't support TLS 1.1 or 1.2. And on the server side, their server it does not mitigate against the Beast attack. In case you've heard of Beast, it's SSL. TLS type of attack. And then who are we connecting to? When you connect your phone to the LinkedIn intro site, and then what is it that it connects to after that? So I found that it connects to secure.rapportive.linkedin.com. So this is interesting. Who is this? What is this? What is Rapportive? What does this mean? So I just Googled it. And it took me to this site, and this is from Rapportive's About page. So Rapportive shows you everything about your contacts right inside your inbox. You can immediately see what people like, where they're based, and what they do. You can establish rapport by mentioning shared interests. You can grow your network by connecting, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Imagine relationship management built into your email for free. So I was interested in what do they do. And they've got some screenshots of what they have been up to in the past. And they actually they make a browser plugin for Chrome and for Firefox, I believe, both. But what it does when you're logged into Gmail, it examines your Gmail, the email that you're displaying, and then it displays additional social media information in like a little frame on the side about the person that sent you the email. So they're already doing things that are similar to this. So in the actual LinkedIn intro announcement, there's a quote from this person, Rahul Vora. I hope I'm not butchering the name. But last year, LinkedIn acquired Rapportive, an email company that I co-founded. Since then, we've been furiously working together to build a groundbreaking mobile product, LinkedIn Intro. So back to the PCAP. So we know exactly who it is and why it is that this is happening. So what people and what companies are involved in it. And back to the PCAP, here's another interesting part. Now most companies, when you set up a website and you need to serve that data to a very wide range of people around the world, what you do is you offload a lot of the images and heavy, large content to what's known as a content delivery network. So one of the major content delivery networks is called Akamai, and so they use Akamai CDN to offload things like images and that sort of stuff. And Akamai is actually, they have their stuff together. So fortunately, your images are transmitted at TLS 1.2. So then at this point, you're going to be logging into Google and logging into Gmail. And of course, Google, they also are running TLS 1.2. So what happens is, at first, you generate an OAuth access token. So what you do is you authorize, and I have some screenshots, and we'll go through exactly what happens, but what you do is you authorize your phone to access Google using the LinkedIn intro. What it does, it generates an OAuth access token that it then uses in the future to connect to your Google email and perform what it does. And then what it does is it installs a configuration profile. And then steps 3, 4, and 5, it just constantly does from then on. So it sends IMAP requests from your phone through an IMAP proxy, which belongs to LinkedIn. It also sends outbound SMTP through their SMTP server, their SMTP proxy. And then while incoming messages come to your phone, depending on their metrics for whether the person that's sending you an email has a LinkedIn account and a profile or other things, they decide some of the emails will have a CSS and an iframe injected into the mail message. And this is how they create that little interactive frame, little button that's in the email where you can click and you can see information about this person that sent you the email. Of course, if you actually look at the mail message, I don't have a copy of the mail message. I will have that online soon. But at this point, I would think that this would break encryption and signatures. But here's the installation walkthrough. So this is where you start. You begin with the LinkedIn intro website to get intro. Get started. And then, which email would you like to enhance with LinkedIn intro? So we've enhanced the Punisher's email address here. So then it takes you to Google and it gets you authorized to do what it does. So it asks Google to allow you to do this. So the permissions that it wants: view and manage your mail and view basic information about your account. So just to help you out, I've actually we clicked on the I information to give you the details of this. So more info: view and manage your Gmail. And then they also view your name, your public profile URL, your photo, view your gender, view your country, language, and time zone. So they gather all that information from you as well. We're about to add new mail accounts here that includes your intro into your iPhone. So this is interesting because it's a profile that they're installing on your phone. What it does is it adds another mail account in your mail app that goes to their mail servers and then to your provider's mail servers. But what it does, it leaves your old mail there. So at this point, we're installing the profile, and then just to make sure, they give you another chance. So it's done. So Frank Castle, the Punisher, now has that profile installed on his phone. And so they've added the new account, and we're ready to go, except for one thing: they want you to remove your old account from your phone so that you don't see the mail messages twice, once with LinkedIn intro added to it and once without. And then they add a little icon to your desktop or your screen. And then this is what it looks like. They add Gmail plus intro, and this is the account that you now would visit to get your email. This is left over from us examining whether or not it works with Exchange, which it doesn't. And then this is an example of the actual email. So what it does, it adds a little LinkedIn profile, and I didn't know the Punisher lived in San Francisco, but now I do. And it's funny because now this message has actually gone through LinkedIn's server, their IMAP server, and they actually added this, so they've seen this entire email message. So what does it look like? This is what your normal IMAP connection looks like between your phone and your provider. So this is what it looks like when you've got a LinkedIn profile added to your phone. So you have the phone, and then you've got the SMTP proxy, which goes your outbound email, and then you have your inbound IMAP, and at this point they do a CSS and iframe injection into your email. This is also an interesting part that I found. Sometimes in some situations when you click on a profile, they use HTTP. So what this means is that when I receive a LinkedIn modified via intro email on my phone, and I click on something, someone who has access to the network can sniff that traffic, and they can determine, because of this ID, if it actually, if there was a profile that got clicked on, of course, they can determine through this ID who it was that sent you the email. There's been a lot of stink about this whole thing on the internet right now, and some people have put out a little bit of false information, and there's been some back and forth and some corrections and that sort of thing. So Bishop Fox had a blog post about the security involving LinkedIn. There's actually some more in-depth analyses out there on the internet, and I encourage you to look into them. But LinkedIn immediately wrote back with the facts about LinkedIn. And actually, some of the specific security problems that were brought up on Bishop Fox were fixed immediately by LinkedIn. So they are actually looking into making sure that the security part of it is up to par. So if you look at the very, very bottom of their privacy page, they actually do let you in on how to block it from Google Apps. But the problem here is right here, it's please note this will prevent your users from signing into all third-party services, not just LinkedIn Intro. So that's not quite good, because you might be using other third-party services, and now the only way you can block LinkedIn Intro is by blocking all of them. So what I wanted to do was figure out how I can detect LinkedIn Intro. So the great thing about it is they use something called Start TLS for their IMAP handshake and their SMTP handshake. So this is actually, this is a very good, valid way of keeping everything secure. However, the beginning of the SMTP and the IMAP handshake is still in plain text, right? And if you look here, they have sort of a vanity message at the beginning of their IMAP connection. So it says, okay, Rapportive IMAP making you, and I've actually blacked out my own IP address, and brilliant with people. And then before it negotiates Start TLS, and then you negotiate Start TLS, and then say, okay, let's do it, and you go encrypted. So this is great. And what I did was I verified the whole process. So I connected to port 143 on one of the servers that I had sniffed off the network, and found that yes, it has that message exactly on the server. And then I'm not a fan of automated port scanning people that I don't know. So what I did was I just verified through their DNS records that they have round-robin DNS, and this is the range. This is the IP range of their servers that they're using. So from there, I went and looked at the SMTP handshake, and it's similar. You can recognize this as an SMTP handshake, and it does Start TLS. But at the same time, they have this nice little line in here, 250 Rapportive SMTP making you brilliant with people. So I checked that one again via Telnet to port 587 on their server, and it is exactly as I found on the network capture. So I looked into the DNS of it, and both DNS records are C names, which point to mail.intro.linkedin.com. So both of them are actually the same server. It's just how you connect to it and what port you use determines what the protocol is, not the actual DNS record. So I wrote a Snort IMAP rule, which you can use to detect this on your network. So what I did was, and if you'll notice, I picked a /25. This is actually just to make the Snort rule fit on the screen, because if you'll notice, a /25 is more IP addresses than they're using for their servers. But if you don't use CIDR notation in your Snort rule, you actually have to write out all of those IP addresses. So it wouldn't fit on the screen. So when you use it at home, if you want to use the Snort rule, I would suggest removing this and making it just for the servers that are involved. And then what I've done here is I've got a message telling you what it is that we're detecting, and I've got the content. And then this is a regular expression because they include your IP address in the middle of their message. So I put in a little regular expression to remove that, so it'll detect it no matter what IP address they're coming from. And then the Snort SMTP rule is a little bit more simple because they don't have your IP address sitting in the middle of the part that I'm detecting. So here's my contact info. Our Simmons number, that's the number 0 at gmail.com, and either Monday or Tuesday at our blog, we're going to have the full rule set for Snort, including 2 rules to find the DNS servers when your phone makes a DNS connection to smtp.intro.linkedin.com or imap.intro.linkedin.com. So, if you have any questions, I do a lot of hanging out online and malware analysis type of places. So pound cuckoo and pound thug on Freenode. You can find me there very often. Both of those are really, really great malware analysis tools, by the way. Cuckoo and thug, they're open source projects. But questions?
What was LinkedIn thinking?
I don't know. I think what they, well, I mean, I would imagine what they want to do is, add to your user experience.
Well, sure. They couldn't visualize the fallout.
Well, no, I think, if you go back, I encourage you to go back to the site for their engineers and also the first couple of things on their own blog. Their thinking is they want, this is very clear, and they make it clear to you this is what they're doing. There's nothing hidden here. There's nothing hidden. There's a few, I've noticed a couple things they can improve, but those are easy things to improve. Just turn on TLS 1.2, and that problem goes away. So what they're thinking, I would encourage you to just read their site, but they're very clear about what they want to do with this.
I kind of have a response to that. What they're thinking is that this is really the only achievable way to do this because Apple doesn't allow you to extend that mail app with there's no concept of plugins for the mail app. So realistically speaking, that is really the only way to enhance the mail app is to do that kind of network traffic interception. It's not like they did this to be nefarious, as far as I know.
Oh, sure. Yeah, they're not going for nefarious, but the effect is that you might have you might be breaking your policy at your company because you're transmitting company emails through a third party. So
I think this is on the bigger picture. There's more of a concern about where this industry is going. Start talking to people that are in the recruitment side of security IT and talking about this huge growth that's about to occur. And the question becomes, all right, this is obviously something that's been used in spear phishing in the past. It's a hacker technique to gather information from you. And so what's going on with the industry is you're going to have this huge outgrowth job based on companies that want to utilize hacker technology to basically market the products. And so it kind of becomes this gray area between, okay, now we're taking things that were somewhat deemed subversive at some point, we're legitimizing that technology. And then there's this huge gray area between protective measures of your company.
How is this subversive?
What's that?
How is this subversive?
Well,
it's all on the up and up. They tell you what they're doing.
But it's things that, like spear phishing, obviously that's, you don't want to act, but at the same time, it's the blanket approach of gathering intelligence without a lot of people unwillingly knowing what's going on.
Right there.
So I want to speak to both of your questions, not by actually. I just want to show you something that's very interesting. So when I was going through my network captures this morning and just double verifying that my Snort rules were correct, and I was actually prepared for this, but so what I just wanted to show you. The capture that I was looking through. So this is one of the captures that I know has the LinkedIn handshakes that I wanted to detect. So interestingly enough, I hope I left it. Yeah, I did. Okay. So this right here, 146. This is these are all unroutable IP addresses, so you can look for them all you want. But 46, this one is the iPhone, the test iPhone that we've been working with. And so when I went on to Wireshark, I was doing a network capture of just all of the network traffic. So there's all kinds of other junk in there. So I just knocked it down to ip.addr equals 46. And I didn't notice because I'd thrown away everything else and wasn't even looking at it. So I looked this morning and I ran through the network capture, and lo and behold, there's someone else out there at 77 who's installed the LinkedIn intro profile of my company. So when I get back, I can figure out who you are. So yeah, it's you know, it is anyone can install it, and you know it's they make it clear what they're doing, but you know, you just need to be more informed, and specifically if you're running an enterprise, you need to know exactly what people are doing with your data on your network. Well, that's the thing. I mean, we have policies in place, but we have BYOD, so there's not a lot of stuff in advance that you can do, and that's why we use things like this with the Snort rules, so we can actually adapt to it as it happens. But it's one of the things you have to deal with BYOD. You have to do your BYOD properly. You have to have it in either totally separate from your network, and just so those people who BYOD have an internet connection while they're at your work, or have it in a DMZ where they can't reach your network. And any other questions? I see you laughing at the BYOD part.
I used to work with MDM companies, so there are you don't need to DMZ your BYOD email system, is what I'm laughing at.
Why not?
If you implement a product that can manage mobile device management on top of that, and containerize your email, or do something like that, then you don't have that problem.
Right, then you'd have to actually install something on those devices that are being brought.
We use a lot of MDM packages as well, and a lot of them are actually, it's retroactive to what's going on, so usually you don't get, you know, the ability to block these types of things.
Well, in this case, you have managed profiles. You can basically lock down your company push profile to it, so you can't install additional profiles. A lot of the products have the ability to, you know, whitelist.
That's
It
as
only
long
allows
as
certain apps.
Yeah.
Any other questions? You had one in the back. Go ahead.
Yeah, are you going to make this rule available to the small emerging threats?
Well, it's not a threat. It's not like a threat in that classic sense. It's just, I mean, it could be, as if your company has a policy about it, then it could be a policy violation, but it's not.
Yeah, I understand that. I was thinking more of your policy rules, that's not necessarily the threats.
Possibly. I mean, if they're interested in it, sure. But we're just going to have it on our website, so anyone can download it.
Somebody actually brought up a good point online. They were discussing this on conspiracy. Is the fact that what happens if you don't necessarily have this, but one of your parties that you're actually working with actually has this application installed. How does that behave in your conversation? And one gentleman brought up the idea of a concept of attorney-client privilege. I mean, basically, you're relaying your email when you're attorney based off confidential information with a third-party server. So what happens to that? It's no longer confidential. So there's a lot of like legal aspects of this as well that I'm very interested in.
Yeah, I would actually, on that note, I would refer everyone to, you have access to the talks from ShmooCon earlier this year. There's a really good talk about the legal implications of the cloud, and specifically attorney-client privilege and other things like that. So, okay. Thank you very much, everybody.